The time is 6:11. Today's date is April 17, 2018. I call this special board meeting of the Weslaco Independent School District to order. Item number 2, establishment of a quorum. Let the record reflect that we have a full quorum. Item number 3, approval of budget amendment for the Weslaco High School Band to purchase 250 marching uniforms. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, we have Mr. Bissett and Mr. Leal here, along with Mr. Garcia, to answer any questions you may have. Bottom line is, we did an inventory of band uniforms. We're in need. There's 76 that no longer exist as part of the band program at Weslaco High School. I'd like to commend Mr. Bissett and the band directors from both high schools. They have a plan, including a replacement plan of every 10 years with dates when we'll be coming to the board to ask, because the lifespan is about 10 years. So we're going to keep track of that. So what we'd like to do is make the amendment in the event that we can get the uniforms here middle of the season or before the season, move forward with the purchase. If not, then go ahead possibly and wait for next year. But we want to be ready, just in case.
And what?
I move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Andrew and a second by Isidoro to approve the budget amendment for Weslaco High School Band to purchase 250 marching uniforms. Is there a discussion?
Oh, yes. I'm just very disappointed that someone was not careful to inventory this equipment. I mean, that's just plain bad. I don't know who's to blame, but someone has to be responsible.
And I think along those lines, as long as there's proper inventory for this coming year with Mr. Leal and Mr. Bissett, it's very important. You know, yes, Dr. Rivera, that's true, you know, but I think Mr. Leal and Mr. Bissett will follow up on that and make sure we have inventory the way it should be.
Okay. And both.
Let's just go back and find out who's the one responsible. I'm not upset about this. You can't lose these things like this easy, and then come back and let's buy some more.
Right.
We got taxpayers.
Right. And the uniforms, correct me if I'm wrong, the uniforms were missing before either of you took your positions, correct?
It doesn't matter who was there, who was not there. Somebody has to be responsible. Plain bad.
And we do have the information about dates and things that we can follow up. It's not something that we, want to come forward and say. The fact is about 76 are missing, correct?
What is the total amount of uniforms that you all need? We're getting 250, is that correct? And they're all the same, or is it different colors, or what is it that we're getting?
We're getting a new design for Weslaco High School. They're going back to the total purple and white, no black. And Mr. Leal designed the new uniform, along with a gentleman from the uniform company, Fruhoff Uniforms. And it's a really nice design. It is constructed to last for 10 years. Weslaco High will get them again in 2028. And Weslaco East is not scheduled till 2022. But we do have an inventory system in place now where this will not happen again. And they are going to report to me, both head band directors, at the end of every year with an accounting for their uniforms.
Okay.
But they will all look the same. All 250 will be the same uniform.
Mr. Leal, is that the reason why you guys were wearing like shirts for the?
Yes. The reason why we were wearing shirts was just to kind of get us through the season last year, because when I got here and I did the inventory on all our uniforms, we were missing those 76 uniforms, which put us at 174 uniforms. But with different sizes, it did not fit the need for the kid. We had about 245 students in the band program, and to fit the student correctly in every uniform, we only had about 114 that fit the student correctly. So those other uniforms were way too big for the student or too small and didn't fit them, and I did not want to put those uniforms on those students, because then I would have very upset parents with the way they looked on the field. So what I did, I came to Mr. Bissett last year to request the $20,000 that we did last year to purchase those shirts as a holdover until we would find a solution for this problem.
How old are these uniforms?
These uniforms were bought and purchased back in 2012.
2012, so they're 6
2012.
years old. And their life expectancy is 10 years?
They're supposed to be 10 years, but since the inventory process that was in place by the previous directors, students would take them home, wash them, their wash and wear, they would sew them, tear them, kind of just do whatever they wanted to do with those uniforms.
Can I interject
Yes.
something real quick? The uniform that was purchased in 2012 for Weslaco High School was a wash and wear uniform. Those are not recommended for high school bands. The uniform we are getting now, it has to be dry cleaned, and they will never leave the band hall unless they're in a bag going to a performance or on the person marching over to the stadium for a game.
So you're going to have procedures in place?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Good.
And they're already in place right now.
Right.
I do have the student checkout form where the student signs for it, the parent signs for it, knowing the responsibility. And then as soon as we get those forms back, we log it into a database and we have it all logged in there for the year.
That is well deserved. I think both band groups did very well this past year. So, unfortunately, it happened. We just got to move forward, and I know you will take care of the inventory, Mr. Bissett and Mr. Leal.
What's going to happen to the current uniforms?
The current uniforms are shirts or the
The actual uniforms?
actual uniform, we would just have to take them to warehouse to see if they can auction them off or see what we can do with them.
Okay.
But I agree with Dr. Rivera, I think somebody needs to be accountable for all these uniforms. Is there a way to track where they ended up?
Well, when Mr. Leal came on board, he did call seniors and former band students. Because they were a wash and wear type, they were taken home to wash, and they never came back. He tried to call them, but you can tell, he
Yes,
tried to
yes.
call them and wasn't able to get them back.
When I got here and when I was doing that inventory process, I did question all the current students, and they did bring back quite a few uniforms, which got us to the 174 uniforms that we currently have right now. And then I would try to go back, but since there was no record of anything being checked out, just notebooks of paper, there was no process. Trying to contact those seniors was very hard, and then when we did contact them, they would just tell us, oh, I don't have them. So either they had them and they lied to us, or they just didn't want to give them back.
Well,
Well,
And there
thank
was
you
no
for the
way
work
of
that
proof.
you've done to get us to where we're at, tagging along with what Coach Nieto is saying. And again, it is unfortunate, and it's not, neither one of yours, it didn't fall on y'all. Obviously, we didn't have a system in place, and the child shouldn't be the one to be left behind in this case, not being able to participate in a actual band uniform. I know our Wildcats look great, and it'd be good for Wesco High to look great, and in 5 years, you start having a system, Mr. Bissett, every 10 years, and this way it'd be 5 years East in 2022, and then 28 would be High again. So, kudos to both of you for doing a good job.
Mr. Bissett, what do we have in place at East? Do we have the same type of uniform that's going to get ordered?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's from the same company, same type of uniform, very modern looking. It's a really nice uniform. And East, we have the same inventory in place. I established it back when I went to East. Those uniforms never leave the band hall unless they're on a student or in a bag going to a game.
okay, so at this point, we have approximately 75 uniforms missing?
76.
76.
76.
Dr. Canales, if you can get some of our other staff to assist, give it one more try to recover those uniforms. I know they're probably not going to be in very good shape, but I think we owe it to our taxpayers and to everybody else to try and recover as many of these uniforms that we can. They are property of Weslaco ISD, and right is right. I know Melissa's pretty good at following up and tracking things down, so put her on it, and let's move forward. So is there any further discussion?
One more comment. Any band directors left from that period?
Yes.
Assistants?
Yes, yes.
Someone is to be accountable.
Yep.
I can't blame the students. I'm gonna vote yes on this one for the students.
Yes.
But I'm very disappointed in the administrators, the teachers, whoever it was, to lose this number of uniforms. It's taxpayers' abuse.
Definitely.
So moving forward, Dr. Canales, just go ahead and have somebody follow up and try to recover as many of those and report back to the board on an update.
And we can do an update, and then again, if we can't get the uniforms in by the football season, the beginning to the mid-football season, we're gonna wait for another year, and that way we can get them in for the 2019, because there's,
No, you need them right now, guys.
Yeah,
You can't wait till next year. You can't have those kids, this is 6A. You can't have those kids out there with inadequate uniforms. So just get with it and get them in right now. Can't wait till next year.
Yes, sir.
is it, yeah, so. Did the company say this company say they could get them within,
They can, what is it, 6 to 8 months?
120 days to 160 days, 160 days.
Just get with it.
Yes, sir.
Mike, will you research to see if we have any kind of insurance that'll cover the loss? Okay. Okay, motion by Andrew, and second by Isidoro, to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Item number 4, discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval of the administration's recommendation to rent or lease portable buildings to house our students during the renovation of the field house building at Weslaco East High School. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, the need for the portables has to do with the renovations to the field house building at Weslaco East High School. Coach Rios has done extensive work on this, trying to figure out how to make it work. So we do have a recommendation to rent from Aries Building Systems LLC up to 6. The reason we say up to 6, because we're looking at existing portables in our district to see if any of them are feasible and can be moved with slight renovations. So, but up to 6 to house our student athletes during the renovations project at Weslaco East High School. The rental lease agreement will be subject to legal counsel review. So, Mr. Rios.
Yes. So after a lot of study, a lot of research, we have been meeting with PBK, architects, our coaches, our staff, our administration. When we decided, or when we moved the renovation of the girls' athletic facilities at West East High School, we flopped the boys and the girls to give the girls more square footage. That kind of took us out of the mix of trying to do one section at a time. We're looking at approximately close to 400 kids, boys and girls, that will need a place come August 1st. And so we've been doing a lot of research, a lot of extensive study. We've come to an agreement and that it's in the best interest that we take this project into a phase 1, phase 2 almost project, in which case we would rent these buildings for Wesco East High School only. When we move the project to Wesco High School, by then we will have Wesco High School football field house ready. We would move the Wesco High School football kids into the new field house, relocate the remaining programs to Lackey Gym, and we wouldn't have to rent any more buildings for Wesco High School renovations. We've been talking to BBK, everything seems to be in order. There's a lot of advantages to us going this route. Contractors will hold the price for the entire length of the project.
Has that been confirmed?
Yes, sir, that has been confirmed. Mr. Iglesias is here.
Who's the contractor?
No, it's out to bid right now.
Okay.
So our question was, initially, we bid packaged everything together as one project, and so the intent was for them to be constructed simultaneously. Because of the portable issue, we discussed with several GCs if they saw an issue with just doing phase 1, which would be Wesco East first, and then phase 2, which would be Wesco High to follow. There was no issue with that. The good thing is we would still be able to leave the bid package the way it is currently. We would just issue an addenda identifying phase 1 and phase 2. The good thing is that the bids would be locked in, the price, even though Wesco High School will start maybe 4 to 6 months later. The cost would be locked in, and it'd be one contract. And we'd have a single contractor that'd be responsible for both with the same subs, warranties, et cetera.
Okay. So we're renting buildings only for
Wesco East.
Wesco East High
Yes,
School?
sir.
Like you said, you're gonna move, once
Right.
the new field house
Yes, sir.
is constructed, you're gonna move the football team over there, and then use the facilities that they vacate to bring up what you need for the other sports.
Yes, sir, and so what this is actually, it's at the max of 4 classrooms and 2 portable, nice restroom facilities with showers so that our kids have still the amenities of being able to take a shower, go to the bathroom for athletic period, after school, sporting events, things of that nature. So it's very important that we provide that for our students as well.
Are you sure that you're not gonna need anything? Because what's gonna happen is that if you're gonna have some at East, and then when we start, construction over here at high school, if we don't have any portables outside, and there's any kind of, overflow, or any kind of, well, we couldn't take a shower today because they didn't have anything for us, anywhere for us to do it, we're gonna get murdered. So I wanna make sure that you think this through correctly,
Yes, sir.
and that we don't say, well, you know what, how many are you gonna need at East? 6?
4 classrooms, 2 bathrooms. Yes, sir. So if I may interject, sir, at Weslaco High School, we have Lackey Gymnasium, full-fledged showers, full-fledged locker rooms are very partially minimal use right now.
Okay.
We could fit some of the programs that are not in football or non-football kids, and it's all males, and relocate them to Lackey Gym, and we would be perfectly fine at Weslaco High School once we transition over to Weslaco High School. Yes, sir.
Do we have a dollar amount on this?
Yes, sir.
241?
241 would be the.
How are you paying for it, Andres?
We have money in the local construction fund that we can use for this.
How much do you have left
About $1
after
million.
the 241?
About $1 million more that we have, because there's a lot of projects that are coming up now, haven't been planned out of the local area, not the construction projects. So we want to fund them from there.
So you guys are okay with this, Coach?
Yes, sir.
Don't fumble the ball.
No, sir, I will not. No, sir.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion by Dr. Rivera and a second by Isidoro. To approve the administration's recommendation to rent or lease portable buildings to house students during renovation of the field house building at Weslaco East High School. Is there any further discussion?
I just have one question. Sorry, Coach, I didn't mean. Just in the event, going back on what Mr. Lopez said,
Yes, sir.
if, let's say, we needed one of the buildings extra, can we extend this lease to rent
Oh,
maybe
yes.
one of the shower or one of the other buildings, and we had to move it
Yes.
in the event that you needed it?
Yes, sir. The gentleman from Aries has been very, very helpful, and this is a monthly deal, so obviously we could extend it if we needed to. I also forgot to mention, that Dr. Canales and I and the rest of the team, we've located a couple of portables within the district that are very functional also. So the cost could potentially come down, in the event that we could use some of these.
Okay.
Instead of having to rent the 4, we may only rent 2. The bathrooms are inevitable. We have to rent the bathrooms, the showers. But as far as the portables, there's a very strong chance that cost will come down. Yes, sir.
Thank you for all your hard work. Appreciate it.
If they are able to come down, can you provide that information to,
Oh, yes, absolutely.
we
As
can-
soon as we're able to determine that, we'll send the board update immediately to notify you guys.
One last question, and the coaches
Yes,
from
sir.
East, they know what they're gonna get,
Yes, sir.
and they've already bought into it.
Sir, we had a meeting this morning. We've had several meetings this morning. We met at 6:30 in the morning. We
So they know
talked
what
about-
they're gonna get.
Yes, sir.
Coach Guzman? Set? Everything okay? Good.
Have you all discussed utilities? And
We have.
How are you gonna
with-
connect
with
them? No?
Americo, and we're still kind of toying with where is the right place to put these portable units, and what's the most feasible place, and the easiest place to connect the sewage, the water, and the electrical, which all 3 are going to be needed.
is that included in this dollar amount, or is that add?
No, sir, they are designed to where we hook up. So they're stubbed underneath.
So being the package the project that's currently bid out right now, we will include an addenda showing where we need to hook up the water, electrical, and sewer, so that cost will be part of the renovation bid package. And so the only cost would be for the portables is the actual hookup. So, and we're exploring 3 possible locations right now to see which one would be more cost-effective to run these utilities.
Make sure that, yes, we take that cost-effective into consideration, but also the feasibility of our kids, of where they're gonna have to go. I don't want them walking half a block to get to a bathroom or a shower. Okay?
Just so you're aware too, the areas we're looking at, either we'll lose some parking space temporarily or some of the practice field temporarily, so
Yeah.
just so the board is aware.
Well, I know that Coach Brigette and his staff and Coach Rojas and Of course, our architects will work it out, and as long as we don't hear any complaints from parents or students that they're having to walk too far or things like that, I mean, let's do this. We're ready. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Item number 5, consideration and possible action to authorize a lease purchase agreement or Public Property Finance Act contract for the proposed acquisition and installation of a scoreboard at a district facilities. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, at the last board meeting last week on April 10th, we tabled the agenda item for the approval of the financing of the new digital school board for Bobby Lackey Stadium. Staff worked together to prepare requests for bids to finance a scoreboard, sent requests to 9 banks, 8 of them were in Weslaco, and the leasing company that works with Daktronics. We received 5 bid responses, as indicated in a table, and we have the offers noted for you, and the other information down below. Mr. Andres Sanchez is here to answer any questions. And we are recommending PNC,
PNC, yes.
Equipment Finance LLC, which has the lowest total financing cost.
Ivan, we have an item in closed session, discussion regarding scoreboard advertising agreements. And I sort of feel that is going to come into play as far as the information that will be given to us in making a decision for this item number 5. And I don't know if we can go to closed session, come back, and then decide on item number 5, or is that doable?
Yeah, you can change the order of the day, ask for a motion to change the order of the day. We go into closed session, have that discussion. You can deal with everything that you have for the closed session discussion or just that particular item. Then once you come back out, you can deal with the closed session item or items and then item 5.
I'll make a motion to change the order of the day.
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion to change the order of the day and go to closed session now and come back to item number 5 afterwards. Is there any further discussion? Okay, the reason being that I want to do this so that the public knows is that there is an item in closed session where it's discussion as to the sales or the monies that are going to be coming in on the sale of the advertisement of the scoreboard. And really, we need to know how much money or what, at least an idea of what we're going to make on those sales so that we can enter an agreement on the purchase. So that being said, is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries in changing the order of the day. So at this time, it is 6:34, and this board is, going into closed session. And we're going to be discussing item A, personnel matters, Texas Government Code 551.074. Number 1, employment of personnel. Number 2, resignations. 3, deliberation regarding the appointment, employment evaluation, reassignments, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, Texas Government Code 551.074 and 551.071. Item A, discussion and possible rescission of termination of probationary contract. And then we have item B, consultation with attorney regarding item A, pending or contemplated litigation, B, a settlement offer, or C, a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the Weslaco ISD under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code 551.071. Item 1 under this sub-letter B is discussion regarding scoreboard advertisement agreements. I will take back the time and say that we are going into closed session at 6:35. Time is 7:16. We're back in open session. I'll allow for a little time to change tapes. Okay, items discussed in closed session and action to be taken on are item A, possible action if necessary on items discussed and possible in closed meeting. Item B, discussion and possible action on employment of personnel. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, we recommend that you approve the employment of personnel as discussed in closed session.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Andrew and a second by Isidoro to approve the employment of personnel. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Item C, discussion and possible action on resignations. Dr. Canales.
There's no action on that one.
It's a non-action item. Item D is discussion and possible action to rescind termination of probationary contract. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, we recommend that you rescind termination of probationary contract as discussed in closed session.
Okay, is there a motion?
Yes, I move to rescind the termination of the probationary contract of Jay Sosa and accept his resignation effective the end of the 2017-18 contract year.
Second.
Okay, motion by Patrick and a second by Isidoro to rescind termination, probationary contract. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Let me just make a statement for housekeeping. Make sure that, need to make a statement that Dr. Rivera left the meeting at 7:10. Moving on to item E, discussion and possible action regarding scoreboard advertisement agreements. And I believe we go back to open or not yet, Evan? I mean, we are in open, so do we go back to item number 5?
Right, you may want to announce that the motion on the last vote passed,
Okay.
and then you can go to item 5.
Item 5.
Discussing possible action regarding. Okay, should we take no action on item E?
Item E is not an action item, it was just a discussion item.
Okay, non-action item. Okay, yes, and let me clear that up. Discussion possible action regarding scoreboard advertisement agreements. We took that into closed session due to the fact that we wanted to make sure that, being that it is a new scoreboard, that the team has a plan on what are the possibilities of the revenues being made by the new sign. And that is, there was no action taken, there is no contracts being written, nothing, only information to the board on the possibilities.
There's also ongoing negotiation with some companies that needed to be shared with the board, so.
Right. And it's all brand new, so nothing going on as far as action taken. Okay, so we're going back to item number 5? Is that correct? Item number 5 is consideration and possible action to authorize a lease purchase agreement or Public Property Finance Act contract for the property acquisition and installation of a scoreboard at district facilities. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, administration is recommending that you approve the financing of the new digital scoreboard with a lease purchase agreement as proposed by PNC Equipment Finance LLC. That's the best offer to the district.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Do we have to announce it?
Yeah, there's actually, just for purposes of being clear
Okay.
on this, we've prepared a couple of motions for the board. One, if you want to authorize its approval of the recommendation as presented, and authorizing the administration and council to negotiate the contract and authorize superintendent to execute the contract.
Okay.
Or the other motion would authorize further negotiation of a contract and then bringing it back to the board. So it's up to the board on how you want to.
Okay, so I move to accept the terms offered by PNC Equipment Finance LLP in response to the district's solicitation for the scoreboard financing issued April 12, 2018, and that the superintendent and the district legal counsel be authorized to negotiate and enter into agreement on behalf of the district for the financing subject to the terms of the district solicitation.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Isidoro and a second by Andrew. Is there any further discussion?
I have a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
The chart that was provided to us, it says there's a total interest cost, basically, I think, based on the interest rates that were provided. Some of them, like for example, Texas National Bank and Plains Capital Bank offer a variable term starting in year 6 through 10. What's the interest rate that's assumed in the calculation?
Well, the calculations here are based on the current rate. As I mentioned here, it's based on the current rate. For example, Texas National, they said, we'll give you the 3.75% interest rate right now, which they calculated by using the Wall Street Journal prime rate minus 1%, because we are their depository client.
Okay.
They say at the end of 5 years, you're still our client, or you stop being our client, but you come back at year 6. We'll continue the same rate for the remainder of the 5 years.
So
It's calculated like that.
So the calculation's based on a constant
Right, current rate,
3.75%.
right. But if we're not the client, then they'll remove the 1% discount, so the rate will be either 4.75 or lower or higher, depending on what the Wall Street prime rate is at the time.
And the
It
reason,
is- It will be fixed for the remaining 5 years, but we don't know what that rate is gonna be now.
okay, but I guess what I was trying to ask was, and I think you answered the question, is the calculation on the total interest cost assumes a 3.75% interest rate.
Yes.
And so the reason that the total interest is higher is because you're looking at like a 32 months extra on
Correct,
the
yes.
interest, is that
10
right?
years as opposed to
Correct.
7
Because
years.
the payment terms are 32 months or more.
Correct.
Okay.
The
The
rates
first-
are lower, the payments are smaller, but it's a longer period of time.
And the first payment will be due,
Yeah, he's okay.
is
With
it-
PNC, we negotiated to be March 15, 2019.
Oh, till,
Yes,
okay.
yes, uh-huh.
What was
Yeah,
that again?
Last time they had said, they wanted September 1.
Right.
And I said, well, I'd like to have it at least on the 15th to give me time to prepare, because the first
So
day of the
March
fiscal
5th.
year, I don't want to miss it.
Of 2019?
Right. Yeah, so whether that just accumulate more interest
Right.
at the beginning, but we'll pay it. Yeah, Texas National said, well, can you make me a payment of interest only in September 15, and then continue the principal and interest in March
Look.
19 and on.
Plus, we'll have the first year's advertisement from the
Right,
fall.
For next year, right.
Right.
how much interest does that accumulate?
I don't have it here, but since you're not paying anything, just like on our mortgage at home, when we don't make any payment or pay more on it, principal, we owe less. So the more you pay, the less interest you accrue over the 10 years at least. That is why it's like that.
And if we wanted to, we could
We can
start
always pay it early.
earlier?
Yes.
Yeah.
The only, Front Bank was the only one that had a penalty. If we pay before the end of the first 5 years, they would charge us the remainder of the interest payments anyway. So why would we want to do it early?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we could pay it anytime. We have more revenue from advertising, we can pay it 2 years, 3 years, whenever we can.
So we can do that if?
Yes.
Okay.
No penalties.
Okay.
No problem.
That makes sense. I think I was the one who motioned to table this item at the last meeting to get some different numbers, and I appreciate your work in bringing these numbers back to us today.
And if I can make one more comment based on what you just said.
Sure.
The next day, last week, I told the bank and the PNC companies, well, the board tabled the motion. They asked us to get lower rates, smaller payments, and longer terms if we can. So based on that, on the PNC company, last week, it would have cost us $330,000, almost $331,000 in interest. With the approval tonight, it would be only $291, almost $40,000 less interest.
So we forced them to bid against themselves.
Yes, yeah, we save more money. And the
good.
bank would have been 390,000, now it would be 312, so it would be 78,000 savings. Both are better. By waiting a week, it helped.
Good.
And this will put us on track for May 1st? To have the 120 days to get started with
Yeah,
the
well, we'd
project?
like to do it as soon as possible, so hopefully we can get the contract approved soon, and then finalize the contract negotiations with Daktronics on the finalizing of the contract, so we can get started, hopefully before even May 1.
Make it happen.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andres, for going back out. And again, now you bring us different options for us to look at. And so thank you to you and your team.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Canales.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion by Isidoro and a second by Andrew. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Let's see, that's all we got.
Item 8.
Item number 8, adjournment.
So moved.
Time is 7:27, and this meeting is done.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.